Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are going to be talking today about income tax returns and supporting documents and what you need. My name is Claire Colby, and I'm from Recro Business Services. We're an accounting and auditing and tax practice in Cape Town, but we've got clients nationally and internationally. We've got over 25 years experience and a team of 14. We're 12 years old. We're passionate about business and small business and helping them thrive, as well as sorting out people's tax affairs. And we do a lot of tax compromises and structuring and making sure that SARS is not keeping you awake at night, but other things in your business, such as business growth, are more your focus. So today, supporting documents, what is required here. So the first thing we're going to speak about is income tax season started, and as usual in July there are loads of glitches on e-filing. Things that used to work don't work anymore or are not temporarily working properly. Last year it was quite funny because everyone that was an individual was classified as a farmer. And we have many stories like that of the things we need to deal with as accountants, and the funny things that happen besides the scenes. So these glitches also mean that there's been some merging of the databases. We've done about 6 or 7 cleanups in the last 3 years of all our clients because information that is 10 years old appears on their profiles. Old contacts are getting access to their information, and letters are being sent to ex-shareholders and things like that. So it's very important, bottom line, that your personal details are checked thoroughly, and your addresses. Maybe you've moved and forgot to tell your accountant. These all need to get updated, because if SARS has to audit you, we're under the impression they kind of take a pencil and kind of go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which communication method should we use? And sometimes they use snail mail, and it ends up going to some old address or some old cell phone number. And you just don't want to not be receiving those communications, because you'll be landing in a whole lot of trouble. So I will be speaking about the process later, and then the tax administration rules around that. So get these details up to date, especially make sure your bank accounts are accurate, because if you're getting a refund, you want that as soon as possible. I'm sure most people have been waiting a long time for their refunds. So types of tax earners. Generally for a salary tax earner, it's pretty simple. You need your RP5s. So some people say, why do I need to submit my RP5 when it's pulling through on my tax return anyway? Well, sometimes the RP5 details that you get are not the ones that SARS has on their system. And there's all sorts of reasons for that happening. I'm not going to go into those now, but have your RP5 in hand and make sure that agrees to what is being pulled through. Otherwise, you need to contact your employer and say, hey, there's a problem here. And we've certainly had a few cases of that. The next thing, you need your medical aid certificates from your medical aid, which confirm your contributions. And there again, there might be differences. Again, then your medical expenses, if you are above, if you can claim above 7.5% of your income, then you're going to need a schedule of those. And your lump sum payments, if you've received a lump sum, if you've retired, if you've got a fund that's paid out, or gratuity, the details of that are also needed. Any letters, RP5 directives. And then also in terms of medical expenses, your doctor's receipts and prescription medication receipts. This is very important. SARS actually wants this in the first stage verification audit. Otherwise, they just disallow that expenditure. That's kind of the trend that we're seeing with medical claims at the moment. Commission earners, so you need all the above, plus you need your expenditure that's in line with your commission income and that you're allowed to claim. Entertainment, advertising, marketing, phone use, computer, printing, just a few listed there. Then with travel, you're going to need your vehicle expenses and a detailed logbook. I'm going to go into a bit more detail just now about what the logbook entails. If you don't have this, have all your expenses also neatly filed and available in case they need more details. Sometimes for entertainment, they want to know who you entertain when and why. So you need to provide them with a list of that. So make sure you do have your diary still and can have that information available should they request it. Otherwise, especially for people, it's not so much in the last year, but usually like your financial advisors that are entertaining quite a lot, they have quite high entertainment expenses. You don't want SARS to be disallowing something that's actually quite crucial to your income and you've incurred quite a lot of expense on. So logbooks, what do logbooks have to look at? So there's a nice little example for you of a logbook that looks, that is meeting all the SARS requirements. Vehicle registration numbers, make and model, purchase dates, your opening and closing readings and purchase price. That's the readings for the current year. And then as you see, your opening and closing every day, date of travel, reason for that travel, who was visited and why. So what SARS have put in this year, it's still under a bit of debate. The accounting authorities are protesting to SARS against the request. They want to know, so for example, you visited client A on the second day of the month there, they want to know client A's full name and contact details because they want to be able to phone these people and verify that you visited them. So they're saying this is a bit against Poppy. SARS doesn't really care. Bottom line, they are entitled to any information. And that's in the Tax Administration Act that they can request any information. They are usually, other than the SARS glitches on the merging data, they don't share that information, but they can request any information they need for their audit. So that is in this year, and we will be monitoring the progress on those protests and the logbooks. There's going to be some interesting developments there, I think. Home office expenses. A lot of people have had to work from home in the last year, so this is also a key focus area. What do you need for home office expenses? You need to actually identify the expenses that are particularly to home office, and these then get a portion. So you need your surface area of your entire home plus your actual home office that you use, and that percentage of those costs can then be claimed for home office. You're going to need your bond statements if you own the house, or your rent if you're a leasing. Then you also need a letter from your employer or your letter of employment that states you're required to work from home, that you don't actually have an office that you can be working in. So this is quite important because they do not allow these expenses unless you have that letter and that requirement. Then rental income. If you have any rental income, you're renting out a room in your house, or you have a cottage on your property, or you have a second property, this also needs to be submitted, your period that it was let for, then your IT3B certificate. If you've got a bond over that property, they want to know what the balance of the loan is and the interest. Then all your expenses that are incurred in this property, and want to mention they're always looking at repairs and maintenance. So if your repairs are quite a lot for the year, or actually even most repairs, you need to submit those invoices as well, that you've incurred those repairs, as they want to make sure that they're actually repairs and they're not capital expenditure. Capital expenditure, if you're improving your property, is not allowed to be claimed against the rental income. That'll come in when you sell the property and with the CGT calculations. If you have in the last year, for example, not managed to rent your house out, for example, if you lost tenants during COVID, or it's just general trend of rentals, sometimes you go through times where there's no tenants, you are sometimes required to show proof of that too. SARS will often query if you had rental income in 1 year and you don't have another year, or it's significantly reduced. That is going to be a key flag. So be prepared to show proof that you might have advertised or something like along those lines of not having the tenant for that amount of time. Next is sole proprietors, and sole proprietors have all the documents we've discussed already, as well as all the relevant expenditure in terms of running their business. All invoices and receipts need to be kept and available for submission. Generally, a summary of income and expenses is submitted, and then SARS might request further details. And some of the things that they can request further details on, definitely legal expenses, but if you've got subcontractors, make sure that you've got a signed receipt of the monies and their contact details that you can submit, especially if you don't have invoices that are submitted to you for this, and casual wages as well. If you, for example, do painting and you have contractors that do the work for you, or you're a carpet installer and there's a contractor that actually does the work, you do the sales, you have to have that expense verified by them to be able to submit it at SARS. This is quite a key focus area of SARS that they look at on sole proprietor returns with employment. Especially if you're not going through the employment and having them as actual employees, that those kind of subcontractor costs they do look at. And then, as I said, any other expenditure that applies to you, especially the log books and travel. Foreign income is tricky. And if you do have foreign income, I would just give us a shout, because there are quite a few things, especially with the new laws that have come into effect all around this income. But generally, you need your passports, your stamps of exit and entry into the country, your summary schedule of those dates to make sure you comply with the number of days out of the country, and then proof of your income. And if there's any expenses, well, you're going to need proof of that as well if you want to claim those things. So I hope that was informative and you know what to prepare in order to make sure that your tax returns and your documentation is all nicely put together for SARS, and that you can successfully get through any audit and make your accountants' lives easier, so they can make your life easier. Thanks for listening. And if you have any queries, please don't hesitate to contact us below. We are ready and waiting to help you.